Kathy, how are you?
Good, how
Good. Did I text you? Okay.
I was driving. So
I went from baseball field or from coaching football to over here and like, you're Americans.
yeah.
You've been out there, got since the cover farm.
Hello, don't mind me. You guys hear anything about what started that fire?
Oh, nothing yet.
I'm trying to get all of the sheriffs, maybe he has some information. Okay. Roger, thanks. Yeah.
Somebody shot some camera. Facebook.
Well, I called him and talked to him.
That one, but I told Louis, camera night.
You want to stay home? Since you
Yeah,
get
that's
all
all.
this back there.
Tracer.
Got that really.
A tracer.
So,
He's a
Yes.
I ran the next day, the tracer or a,
Yeah.
so they picked up the cool. I was working well. I walked
So
out.
we had the paper on fire.
When I was walking out.
dry and windy, little sparks. I can't imagine. I have not had patience in 16.
That's all.
January.
Okay, we'll call the meeting order at 5:30. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Marie, would you take roll, please?
Councilman Nelson.
Here.
Councilwoman Beck. Here. Councilwoman Campbell.
Here.
Councilman Hutchins is absent, and Mayor James.
Here. Ron might be hopping on. I know he was trying to get out to get back.
Okay.
And so. Moving on to approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, so this special meeting was called to discuss the Stevens litigation. My understanding was we had a productive workshop a week ago on Monday. Just wanted to give the public an opportunity to see what council's been working on in terms of different grading plans, things of that sort. That we've been working on for the last 10 months, 12 months. So with that, we'll move to items from the public if anyone has any questions, and then we'll go through some of the grading plans that we've considered throughout this process. Okay.
All good, thank you.
Okay. This point, John, you want to kind of take over and kind of start going through all the different plans we've worked on as council?
You bet. We kind of touched on this at the public workshop 10 days ago or whatever. But yeah, let me go back through a series of approaches that we've evaluated. Going back to last December, we put out a request for proposal for different design build contractors to pursue a soil mill wall.
John, hold on. This is Ron. Hey, Ron. Okay. You want me to just call you back on the conference call phone so everyone can hear you? Okay. I'll call you back in just a second on the conference. Vote.
You have new messages. You have new messages.
Go ahead, John, if you want to get going on.
So December of last year, we received 3 proposals from contractors for a soil nail retaining wall. This exhibit was from one of the proposals that we received. I think it's one of the more illustrative ones. It shows the location of the existing sheet pile wall on the north side of the alley. And then the proposed location of the soil nail wall on the south side of the alley to
Hey, Ron, we couldn't get the conference call to work, so I got you on speakerphone.
Anyway, the contractors were all given the same instructions and came up with slightly varying designs, but essentially they were all bidding apples to apples on a soil nail wall. And not to go too into detail, but soil nail wall is a construction method or retaining wall method that can be constructed vertically from the top down, and so it was suitable for dissipation given the existing SERCD building. We didn't ask for any kind of sculpted or finished wall options from these contractors, but just a couple of examples of what those walls can look like with some aesthetic improvement to it. But essentially what we got was a proposal to leave a bare concrete shotcrete finish. And that alternative was tabled for a number of reasons, one of which was cost, the other which was, I think, safe to say, was aesthetics. After that, we engaged TO Engineering to start pursuing different grading options. First grading concept design was received June 20th of 2022. This shows that grading plan. Major highlights or takeaways on this plan was that the contouring of Randy Stevens lots to the north of the alley was essentially graded at a slight slope from east to west and from south to north, and the grade of those lots were going to be raised in order to bring the alleyway up to a kind of midpoint between River Street and the highway, and then have some sloping that went to the south, utilizing, I think I've got that on the next slide. Don't have that one, but we're utilizing approximately,
I think the first one is 49 foot.
49 foot, okay, thanks. About 49 feet of SCRCD property to build that slope or to cut that slope down and slope down into the alley. That would have required some cooperation from SCRCD, obviously for the utilization of the property, but also for the coming up with some sort of plan to relocate their existing shop building that would have been had to been moved because of that sloping. You want me to go into the reasons why this one we moved on from this, or just
No, I think just kind of go through.
okay. Anyway, that was the first option, June 20th. For a couple of reasons, that was revised. This June 30th plan shows the grading of Stevens lots a lot closer to existing grade, keeping those lots lower, which meant that the alleyway was lower, which meant that the slope length into the SCRCD property was greater. And so we went from, what did you say, 49 feet?
Yes.
to 57 feet onto the conservation district property with this June 30th plan. Moving on from that, we get to an August 24th plan. This plan utilized some retaining walls, precast, we'll call them gravity block walls, on the east and south sides of Stevens lots and on the south side of the alley. Kind of a hybrid of the two earlier plans, keeping the Stevens lots flatter and lower at more of an existing grade while trying to minimize the amount of sloping on the FCRCD property. Moving on from August 24th, we had a new plan prepared and received on September 19th. This plan has, rather than sloping being done on SCRCD property, essentially leaves, not essentially, it does completely leave SCRCD property alone. This September 19th plan has the sloping going towards Stevens property. Instead of that kind of being a cut to make that slope, it's really more of a fill, with the top of the slope starting on the north side of the alleyway. So the alleyway would still remain relatively flat, although it would be up significantly higher from any of the prior plans. And some portion of the dirt needed to make that fill of that slope on Stevens lots would be coming from the town lots on the northwest corner of River Street and Cypress Avenue. The final plan we have, just plan number 6, if I'm counting right, is the one received yesterday, September 27th. This is very similar to the September 19th plan, but the top of the slope, instead of starting on the north side of the alley, starts on the south side of the alley. And I guess a drawback to this is that the alleyway itself would be on a side slope, so the opportunity to utilize it for traditional alley purposes, utilities, vehicular access, et cetera, wouldn't be maintained, however, significantly reduced the amount of imported soil needed to make the slope work, and reduced the amount of slope length on Stevens lots. So it gives the Stevens lots, if you compare these two plans as I toggle back and forth, you can see where the toe of the slope is here on the September 19th plan compared with the toe of the slope on the September 27th plan. Significantly more space to be utilized on those lots in this September 29th plan, or September 27th plan. From a soil earthwork standpoint, this September 27th plan also reduced pretty sizably the amount of imported fill required to make that grading work. The September 19th plan required about 5,400 cubic yards of import. By changing the top of the slope to the south side of the alley, September 27th plan reduced that to 1,150 cubic yards. So I think some real advantages to this final plan that we have. And again, both the September 17th, the September 19th and September 27th plan do not impact SCRCD land or property, and so would not require that building to come into the equation. Anything else you want me to hit on as far as the progression?
I think that kind of hits on it. Does any, Chuck, Mike, anyone have any questions about the different plans we've looked at?
That last one sounds pretty good to me. And all the dirt will be removed off the town lots.
On this September 27th plan, this latest one,
Still required.
still requires an import of 1,150 cubic yards. But the majority of the fill volume of 3,000. You must be on both, huh?
He's on it.
Hey, Ron, did you get on the Zoom?
You're on it, right?
What?
The YouTube.
I think Ron logged in. Ron, you on the Zoom?
I am.
Perfect. I'm gonna hang up because we're getting quite a bit of feedback. Thanks.
Yeah, there, a lot of the cut to make that, a lot of the volume needed to make that fill of the slope will come from those town lots on the northwest corner of River and Cypress. But we're still short 1,150 cubic yards. But that's a
How much-
significant improvement from being short 5,000
Yeah.
yards, right?
On that, what would the grading, how much will that be below the street, or will it be sloped from Cypress down to Stevens's? Do you know how that lays? I mean, would it still be usable land?
The town's property or
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
if we just look at the topo here, on those town lots.
Okay.
Most of the cuts coming out of the middle.
Right.
And so you're coming off the side here, coming down, 4 feet, from top
Okay.
to bottom, kind of around the side. So this corner here, is kind of in a bowl, if you will. But then for drainage purposes, we kept a slope going across the lots this way, so that with the intent that most of this water would hopefully get to this curb line.
Okay.
And reduce erosion. So everything still falls, everything on those town lots falls just like it does now from southwest to northeast. But what you end up with is, rather than having I actually don't know what that slope is, but
Yeah.
rather than having that fall take place kind of gradually across the whole lot, it's real steep in the southwest corner and then relatively flat,
Okay.
but it still does fall that way. So to answer your question, I mean, I think depending upon what you wanted to do there, it's still buildable.
Okay.
So I think it's just as buildable as it is currently, really.
How far does it protrude on the Stevens's land? Up there in that far corner, John?
Yeah, let me back this up. So, don't have a dimension on that, but just trying to scale it here roughly. This is a 50-foot offset line right here, this dash line goes
Okay.
across. So call it 48, 45,
Probably.
something like that, right?
Right. Okay.
At the widest point, and then obviously it tapers back. Once you get over on the east side, it's maybe more like 10 feet. And just for comparison's sake, going back to the September 19th plan, that's more like
Yeah.
165 or almost 70,
Yeah.
and at least 50 pretty much all the way across the south side into the lots. So
Do you have an approximate cost? Is there a ballpark cost on the September 27th?
do you guys, you tell me which other one? There is.
But you don't want to share it?
We have an engineer's estimate and or a proposal price from the contractor for all these options.
Oh, okay.
But it would still go out to bid.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
we wouldn't be using that.
Yeah, they're engineer's estimates, right?
Okay. Does it meet what you guys had budgeted for this project?
I think that depends upon the cost of it.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I totally understand. I like that idea too.
The town cannot afford to do any of these options as the sole
Sure.
payer. Yeah.
And that's why we've looked over, I mean, there's, going through a number of the different plans, some of it's been financial. Some of it's been, this won't work for the conservation district, this won't work for Randy, this won't work for the town, and that's why we've got so many different iterations. It is to try to find a global solution, if you will,
Well,
that works for everyone.
yeah. And my hat's off to the entire council and you guys for looking over so many different ideas to try to find one that'll fit for all of us.
And to just add to that, I mean, I would say that the cost for the engineering, with the exception of these last two plans, the 19th and 27th plans from September, with the exception of those, all the other grading and engineering work that's been done has been split 50-50 between the town and Mr. Stevens.
Correct.
So
So has these all been presented to Randy? Or have you,
no, I think that's really the purpose of tonight's meeting is
Yeah, I
for
see.
us to,
see which one you guys are wanting to go?
Yeah, the all but the last two iterations, Randy's had input in and along with Conservation District. Obviously, was one of the concerns there is if we're gonna have to go onto their property, you know, we'd have to work with them. They've been very willing to try to help out if they can. They want to be a good neighbor, you know, to an extent, and that's trying to find that happy medium with them as well. So like I said, the first few iterations, there was call it some pushback from one party or another. There, you know, with grading onto their property or what the grading was going to look like on Randy's, you know, and so like I said, we've continued to try to push forward to try to find a good solution that's going to work for everyone. You know, and I think a couple of them have other merits, you know, whether it's, you know, where to work for everyone, you know, then it just comes down to the money on it.
Yeah. Well, and you've heard me say this before, you know, to me, he has to give a little too. You know, it shouldn't be just all taken from other people's property. I think it is my feelings on it.
I think one of the questions I heard from our workshop last week was, there was a question raised about why even trying to save that alley? Why make it a flat usable space? Why not just incorporate that into the slope, one side or the other, and figure out how to you know, utilize the alley as part of the solution? And so we took that back to the engineers, and that's how we got to this.
I have a question. Will you have to vacate that alley or just deem it unusable? You know,
It would probably be vacated
I see.
if it's not usable for utility corridor or,
I mean, about the only thing you could lay on it would be electrical on a 3-to-1. I mean,
Yeah, there's an existing electric line that goes down the south edge of the alley that feeds power from the power pole to the transformer behind the SARCD building. Depending upon the final grade, that might have to get relocated
yeah,
vertically. Either way.
yeah.
There's really only like one of these plans where it doesn't come into play at all. But that's not that big a deal, in my opinion.
No,
Grand scheme of things.
I like it. Good job.
Yeah, I really like the fact that the building doesn't have to be moved and you eliminated 4,000 yards of fill dirt. That's a half a shift of digging with a 1570 drag line. That's a lot of dirt.
I guess I'd ask, is there any other input from the public? Before going forward?
I would just go with the last plan. That's my only input.
Looks like you've made the best out of a bad situation, the best it can be had.
Okay, well, to move forward, we would, I think, need to probably speak with town attorney in executive session. So is there a motion to enter executive session?
Make a motion to enter executive session to discuss personnel and matters of litigation in accordance with Wyoming statute 60-4-415A 2 and 3.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey, Ron, I'll call you on my cell.
Okay.
Like a truck.
Got here just in time. Apparently. Okay.